Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome back to art class. Today we are focusing on an artist. That artist's name is Yayoi Kusama. She's a Japanese artist, and hopefully you watched the first video up there where we read the story about her. Even though that's like a kid's book that tells the true story about this artist. She's still alive, she's still making art. She is most known for putting dots on stuff. That book was accurate. Her most famous artwork are things covered in polka dots. Sometimes these are drawings and paintings, sometimes it's sculptures, sometimes it's in the real world. She does these really awesome, and if you look below the lesson, you'll see an example of some of these things. These things called infinity rooms, which they talked about a little bit in the book, but it's a room that's completely covered in mirrors, and then she'll put a bunch of sculptures in there, and since each wall, even the door, since everything is covered in mirrors, it's reflecting, and it does that trick. I don't know if you've ever looked into a mirror with a mirror behind you, but it multiplies what you see, and it looks like there's a bajillion of you. It's that. So she makes artwork using kind of that optical illusion that we can get when we're looking from one mirror to another mirror. Alright, so depending upon when you watch this video, because time's kind of strange right now, it's either just about to be Halloween or it just recently was Halloween. So because of that, the artwork that she's famous for that we're going to base today's project on is some pumpkins. So Miss Kusama loves pumpkins. She loves the shape. She thinks it is a fantastic, lovely shape. She has made paintings of pumpkins. She has made sculptures of pumpkins. She's done those infinity rooms with pumpkins. She's written poetry about pumpkins. The lady likes pumpkins. So since it's so close to Halloween, or just recently was Halloween, we're gonna make some pumpkins, and we're gonna base them on her artwork. So before we get started, let's look just real quick. This would be an example of some of the pumpkin art that she has made. So you'll notice a few things. The shape might be a little different than I would use for a pumpkin or you would use for a pumpkin, but it's this real specific shaped pumpkin that she is known for. The colors are obviously not colors that we would see on any real pumpkins, and then of course it's got the polka dots. So in our project, we're going to be making some pumpkins that are way more like hers than the pumpkins we're maybe used to see. So that's it. That's the plan for today. We've learned a little bit about our artist. Now we're going to make some artwork that is based on artwork that she would make. So let's get started making some pumpkins. Alright guys, for our project this week, you're going to need a piece of paper, you're going to need a pencil, you're going to need some colors. If you have a marker, that would be awesome. If you don't, you can just use a darker colored crayon for what we're gonna do. So we're gonna make some artwork today that is based on the artist we've been talking about, Yayoi Kusama. And it's gonna be based on, out of all the artwork that she has, we're choosing just one area that she's kind of focused on, and it's the pumpkins. So we're gonna draw some artwork about pumpkins, and it's gonna be kind of inspired by Ms. Yayoi Kusama. So when we're done, we're gonna have 3 pumpkins on this page, and a couple of things. We want them to overlap, so the only one I'm going to see all of is the one up front. And we don't want them to be the same size, because we're trying to make it look like there's some depth there. We're trying to make it look like the pumpkins in the back are a little bit further away than the one up front. Alright, so the way that she makes her pumpkins, it's maybe a little unique. They might look a little different than the way that I would draw pumpkins. So since we're basing it on her artwork, I'm gonna try and show you guys how she would do it. If you want to try and do it her way, that's fine. If you want to draw your pumpkins your own way, that's fine too. So down here, this area, that's gonna be my main pumpkin. And I'm gonna start with a shape that almost looks like an oval that I like poke the sides in of. So I'm going to come up and down. Something kind of like that. So this way, it looks like I had an oval and I poked the sides in, or it looks almost like the shape of like an 8. Then I'm going to draw a few more sections of my pumpkin. I'm going to come a little bit higher. I don't need to draw the full shape again though. I'm just going to redo this side of it. So I'm going to come out and down like that. I'm going to do the same thing over on the other side. Like that. And I'm going to do, I think, one more on each side. Like that. Last thing I need to add for the main shapes is going to be a stem. So I'm going to go ahead and give my pumpkin a stem like that. Alright, before I do anything else, I'm going to trace this so you can hopefully see the outsides pretty well. So give me 1 second to do that. Alright, so there is my first pumpkin. Now I'm going to repeat that process for one over here and one over there. A couple of things, like we said, we want them to overlap. So I'm not going to see this whole pumpkin and I'm not going to see this whole pumpkin. We're just going to see the parts that show up behind this one. And then I'm also going to make them a little smaller. Other than that, my process is going to be the same shapes to start with and then add going outwards. So I'll go ahead and do that and I will speed it up while I'm doing that. If you're following along, if you're wanting to do this while I am, and since it's going in fast forward, if I get to the next step and you're not ready, then just go ahead and pause the video. Or if you're the kind of person who wants to wait till the end, till you've seen it all happen, then that's fine too. All right, here we go. All right, so you see even here that pumpkin started going off on the page. That's fine. It doesn't matter if your whole pumpkin makes it on the page or not. All right, so I've got my 3 pumpkins that are based on her pumpkin shapes. So now the other super important thing that we want to add if we're trying to make these look like those Yayoi Kusama pumpkins are the dots, right? So I'm going to focus on here. Now, there's some examples down below the lesson of some of her finished pumpkin sculptures and paintings. One of the important things is that, yes, they're covered in dots, but not all the dots are the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and instead of just, making dots, I'm actually going to draw circles. So some of them will be big, some of them will be little. I'm going to do this first panel, this middle part of my first pumpkin, and then we will talk about it a little bit more before we get towards finishing up. All right, so I've got a good start on my dots on my pumpkins here. So I'm going to start bringing those into the next shapes, the next sections of my pumpkin. The difference is I probably won't be able to fit as many in there, and that's fine, because if this pumpkin was 3-dimensional and if it was wrapping around away from us, we wouldn't see them all anyway. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this pumpkin with the dots, and then we'll talk for just another second before we start coloring things. All right, so I am finished with my polka dots on my pumpkin. You will see that as the sections got more towards the sides, I didn't try and put as many dots in. And then all the way here, I didn't even try and show the entire circle. Because again, if this was a 3-dimensional pumpkin and it was wrapping around the sides, we wouldn't see all of it. All right, so now for coloring. As you can see in a lot of her examples, the pumpkins are all bright awesome colors. A lot of the ones you see are yellow pumpkins with black dots, but she's made them with a ton of other colors too. So pick a really bright color for the main part of your pumpkin, and then you can use either black, you can leave them white, or you can pick a different color completely for your dots. I'm gonna make my first one here just like she would have. I'm gonna use yellow for the main pumpkin and then black for the dots. We'll do that, and then we'll talk one more time before we get finished. All right, here we go. All right, guys, so there is my first one. As you can see, I tried to be fast, and I colored in my black dots first and then tried to go over the whole thing with crayon, and it kind of smeared the black into my yellow. So it doesn't look great. So maybe take way more time than I did. All right, so this one's yellow and black. I would not want to use yellow and black for this one, and I would not want to use yellow and black for that one. So pick different color groups, color schemes for your other two. But when you're done, we should see 3 pumpkins that are one solid bright color covered in dots. All right, my friends, can't wait to see what you guys make. Hope everybody's doing good. See you later. Bye.